Here we have Myles. So right off the bat you can see you have a pretty good lung extension. That's one of the most important parts of a good technique. Your legs and hips might just be a little bit low in the water, not bad, but if you can keep them as close to the surface as possible, it keeps you streamlined, which reduces drag, which means you swim faster. When you turn to breathe, there's a bit of a pause or delay there as you're turning. See, a slight pause, so you may be turning and just holding your head or face out of the water just slightly longer than necessary. So that's something you can work on. You are exhaling in the water, which is good, but try to turn as little as possible when you turn to breathe. The other thing that's causing is it's causing your left arm to sort of swoop under your body when you take the stroke, which in open water will cause you to veer off towards the left generally. But both arms are extending well. Again, with the left, you might be crossing over just slightly as you enter, and then it pulls under your body again. Right arm, doing a good job. We'll talk about the underwater portion when we get to the underwater video section. Your kick looks okay. You got a little bit of a scissor kick. That's when, notice how when you extend left, your left leg kind of pulls out of the streamline slightly. That'll cause a bit of extra drag as well. For triathlon, the kick is not something you want to worry too much about unless you're really getting to the front of the pack and racing the swim. You want to save your legs as much as possible for the bike and the run. But having a decent kick is helpful. So just a little bit of a scissor kick there, it's not bad. The way to correct the scissor kick is just you need to think about it when you're extending your left arm and say, okay, I don't need to do anything funny with my legs. I just want to keep kicking, keep them in the pocket or in the streamline. Rotation-wise, when you are extending your left arm and turning to breathe on the right, you're getting a good rotation on the left side. When you extend the right, your left shoulder isn't coming out of the water quite as much as I think you could. So when you rotate, the rotation again is for the streamline. It's to present as little surface area as possible to the water. So with both shoulders, you want to kind of extend them forward so that they're almost brushing your chin. And that will help stretch your lat out as much as possible so that you can use your lat to pull yourself forward. The lat is the main mover for swimming, provided that you're anchoring your hand in your forearm and doing a high elbow catch, early vertical forearm. So what's going on with your stroke underwater is sort of in between what I call the straight arm pull and elbow slip, or elbow leading the stroke. A real elbow slip would mean that your hand and your forearm stay almost parallel to the bottom of the pool. You're not doing that. And a straight arm would mean that your arms do not bend, or bend very little at the elbow relative to a view from the side angle. So your stroke would push down at the beginning and then pull back when you get to about a third of the way into the stroke. The high elbow catch is where your hand and your forearm go vertical relative to the bottom of the pool, so that there's a pronounced bend at the elbow early on in the stroke. So here you can see the line you're pulling through. So your right arm's doing a decent job. I think it could be a little wider or outside the line of your body. Your left arm is pulling more under your body. The important thing about the line you're pulling through in the water is the leverage that you can get from certain positions. So I think I mentioned this to you. Imagine that there's two columns running, the center of these columns running through each shoulder, and you're going to want to pull within those columns. Now the columns should be, imagine they're about 12 inches on each side, or 12 inches, 6 inches on each side of your shoulder, and your hands pull through somewhere in there. So if your hand pulls directly under your body, that means it's too far under. If your hand is way outside, it's also too far outside. You could be too far outside your body. But the main thing is the leverage that you can get using your lat to pull yourself forward. Your stroke extension is fine. Almost everybody can do a little bit better there, but you're doing pretty good there. So the biggest improvement for you for swimming is going to be, notice how you just changed persons for a second. The biggest improvement is going to be getting the high elbow catch, early vertical forearm, and then doing some hard swim sets, some threshold type swim sets. If you watch the Powerstroke explanation that's also on this same channel, Powerstroke is where you're just pulling hard, essentially, trying to use the best form possible. So a lot of people get into this rhythm where they're swimming along and they're swimming comfortably, but your heart rate's not really going up. So to swim fast, you need to pull hard, a lot of muscular effort, which will cause your heart rate to go up. It's a combination of strength and form. So this part you were trying to emphasize the high elbow catch. So you're getting some of it on some of the strokes. It's going to feel vastly exaggerated as you get used to it. It's internal shoulder rotation. You'll feel the strain in your rotator cuff. There's a type of paddle called the Tech Paddle. It's techpaddle.com. Might be something it's worth checking into. It's like $25. Alright, and then here's a few screenshots to look at the stroke. So good extension. Could be a little more, but that's fine. Then you start your stroke. Notice how your forearm and upper arm kind of stay in the same line there. So you want that forearm to go vertical a lot earlier than there.